The December 6, 2023 Planning Commission meeting come to order, and we start with the Pledge of Allegiance. And David, would you like, please?
Right hand over your heart. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Can we get the roll call?
Chair Algauer, Vice Chair Hicks,
Here.
Commissioner Beck,
Here.
Commissioner Chester. Here. Commissioner Higginson,
here.
Commissioner Snodgrass. Here. And Commissioner Vick.
Here.
Thank you.
All right. So do we have any public comment?
No public comment for items that are not on the agenda.
Okay. So we'll move on to the consent agenda. So we have 2 minutes to approve, one for November 1st, 2023. What?
In my head, I just said 2 minutes to approve it.
Yeah.
Two individual sets of minutes.
We have two separate
I'll move both minutes.
minutes of meetings to approve, November 11th, or November 1st, November 15th. And we had, I think I was not present for the first.
Yeah, so for the first set of minutes, we were missing Richard Beck and Stacy Chester. And for the second set of minutes, we were missing JR and Lyle.
Okay. So we'll have to do those separately then. So can I get a motion to approve the minutes of November 1st?
I'll make a motion.
Okay,
I'll second.
and all those in favor?
Aye.
And abstentions?
Same.
Andy? Okay. And now the second one is minutes from November 15th. Motion?
I make a motion to approve.
And all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Right.
I have an abstention from that one.
Pardon me?
I said I have an abstention from that one.
Okay. And then move on to public hearing, disclosures of ex parte communications. Does anyone have anything to disclose on any of the projects? Which also includes talking to staff on any of those projects now, correct, Ben?
Only if it's to get information that anyone else doesn't have, but if it's just for clarifying information or just kind of needing a little bit of detail, that wouldn't trigger that.
Okay. So can we just go down, starting with Lyle? Do you have any,
I have none.
Donna,
None.
Richard?
None.
Myself, none?
None.
The only thing I would clarify is obviously I'm recusing myself of item number 1, so obviously it's my project. So whatever I need to disclose on that.
Or item number 4,
Item number 4, I'm sorry, Ben.
as you're the architect of record.
That's correct.
All right. So with that, let's see. That's 3 first. So we're starting with item number 4, is that correct?
Or item number 3,
I'll move to hold item 3 over to January 17th.
Okay, well, let's see.
yeah, item number 3 is ordinance. We're not ready for that, and so the recommendation is to move it to the second meeting in January.
That's, okay,
That's what I just moved.
okay.
I
Done.
second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. So now,
Now number 4.
number 4. Christian, do you have that?
Chairman, I would like to recuse myself from this matter since I am the architect of record.
Architect.
We'll try not to forget you in there this time.
We have 2 minutes to.
will handle the presentation.
Okay.
So this is for case 19-133. It is a conditional use permit architecture review related to the phase expansion of the Yucaipa Brewing and Tasting Room. Really kind of focused on adding additional tasting room area, full-service restaurant, and kind of expanding their operations located within the Uptown Business District specific plan. The property itself is adjacent or kind of includes 35058 Yucaipa Boulevard. The 35058 site itself is the location of the existing Yucaipa, and then in discussion for tonight is an expansion that would include portion of this vacant lot here directly east of that. It is located in the limited mixed-use district of the Uptown Business District specific plan, and again is adjacent to their existing brewing operations as well as the Uptown Park, which is directly east, and then the YPAD, which is kind of east and north of the subject site. Kind of for a bit of history, so the development of the existing Yucaipa building began in 2015, where City Council wanted the city to kind of rehab that building and kind of find a tenant for that. In March of 2017, Yucaipa opened their doors at the subject site under a lease with the city for that piece of property. In 2018, the City Council authorized kind of the process to allow Yucaipa to purchase the actual building, as well as establish kind of an exclusive negotiating agreement for the adjoining site as they kind of grow their operations. And so the envision of that E&A at that time was for food service, tasting room, kind of beer garden, really kind of adding to the success that they were having in their subject site. And then the purchase of the Yucaipa building was completed in April 2019. And then as part of that, they did submit the conditional use permit that's before you tonight for their subject site. Certainly after 2019, quite a bit happened in the world. In 2020, COVID-19 happened, and so there was a lot of kind of delays on which way things were going to go into the future. And so the E&As had been kind of delayed, and really this is to kind of memorialize what their vision and goals are for the property. So the conditional use permit that's requested tonight is for the expansion of their brewing operations in a 4 kind of phase project, really including the addition of a restaurant and kitchen that will help kind of serve the site as well. Additional tasting room area and seating that will accommodate the patrons, and outdoor kind of patios within the interior of the site. And then also adding to their Yucaipa brewing operations, and also to add a distillery operation as well. So really adding a little bit more value to the uses that they have, and really kind of building up their brand on that subject site. There is a phasing exhibit that was provided in the project plans, but really kind of phase 1, or kind of the way the phases work, is the design is kind of set up to be modular, that they can kind of add onto it, create kind of nice improvements at the start, but then as they build out, they're not necessarily removing everything on the site and creating a bunch of crazy activity, but really kind of creating a logical flow of expansion. So they'll kind of do an outdoor seating at first, with the kitchen and tasting room kind of happening in phase 1, and then having the outdoor seating, and then as they move into phase 2, adding more additional outdoor or enclosed, kind of restaurant seating. This outdoor patio would then get built and kind of match what was in phase 1. Phase 3 kind of follows that as well, and then a phase 4, the way that the building is designed is to have kind of a 2-story feature to it, and so then that'll be the tenant improvements for that second story, be kind of the last ultimate phase for the project. And so really the idea was to allow enough opportunity for them to raise funds to support the next phase, have the site designed in a way that allows for not too much demolition of what they just built, to accomplish the phase, and then certainly having a complete site from the start, that way it's at least an enjoyable location kind of through that evolution as they build out the project. As part of it, they are requesting architectural review. The architect tried to emulate a lot of the materials and colors and features of what is existing on the Yucaipa building, adding in that second story, so they've added windows to the top, kind of a flat motif that will happen, and then maintaining a lot of the different materials and details that go along here. and having that two-story design really adding a little bit more mass to the building along Yucaipa Boulevard, consistent with the Uptown Business District design guidelines. As part of the procedure of the project review, no public comments were received through our noticing elements of this project. However, this was reviewed by our Uptown, Historic Uptown Association. They're a property business improvement district that is formed in the Uptown, and so it's property owners and business owners that kind of work together, and so they did review the proposed changes as well. The project itself, certainly in the Uptown, it doesn't like we have a whole lot of large parcels, and so most properties don't develop their parking on site, but we do have an in lieu parking fee program that was adopted by City Council and in this specific plan, and so this project would provide additional parking spaces on site to the extent they can, and then they would pay the city the remainder of it, and that cost helps fund new parking spaces, maintenance of parking spaces in the Uptown District. And so really the focus of that program is to allow the city to have public parking spots in the Uptown, but not necessarily cannibalize individual projects from being able to provide parking, since they just don't have the room that like a larger shopping center is able to do. And then one thing that is kind of unique about this and kind of the harmony that is kind of proposed. So because this is adjacent to the Yucaipa Performing Arts Center, certainly the city has a lot of events that happen on there. Some of them are free festivals, like the Music and Arts Festival, where we do have, performances. People can attend, it's all free. But we also do have a number of private events that occur there as well. And so with that kind of consideration in mind, Yucaipa will be subject to adhering to whatever our rider requirements are of those artists. If they do have people showing up, they're able to listen in and try to get free spots, quote unquote. They would be subject to some sort of share of that revenue, just to make sure that we comply with those rider requirements that those artists propose. And then certainly if there's an event that's going on there, they can't have a band outside that's creating a noise conflict happening with what's happening with the Yucaipa. And so that's one thing that is kind of paramount, is making sure that that relationship is maintained, where Yucaipa will be probably a very fun spot for people to attend and kind of hear the different concerts that are happening, but making sure that we're also meeting the Yucaipa requirements for those events that are also happening. And then as part of the project, it is exempt from CEQA, as it is a infill project, less than 5 acres, and it's also a smaller scale development with buildings less than 10,000 square feet. And so with that, the recommendation is that the Plan Commission conduct a public hearing and approve the project, and I'm happy to answer any questions. And the applicant and their representative is also here for questions.
Anything? Would the applicant like to make a presentation?
Hi, thank you for having us here again. I just wanted to say 3 numbers to you: 10, 7, and 4. 10 years it took to build Yucaipa. No, we're coming on to 10 years. So this thought came upon 10 years ago. We're approaching year 7 of business, and this has taken 4 years to get here. So we're just excited and ready to move forward.
All right. Thank you. Any questions for the applicant, anybody? Nope. All right, thanks.
All right, thank you.
Any public comments?
No public comments on this item.
All right. Any questions for staff or any discussion?
No, I'll just echo everything I say with Uptown. I think it's great. Every bit that goes in there is an improvement to commerce in this town, just as an attractant for osmosis between other cities. So I think it's great. I'll say it for every project that goes in up there. So.
Right.
And I would like to say that even though we're not getting any diff fees from this, the economic impact for having a project like this creates jobs here in Yucaipa, creates tourism, and it does really bring people from other cities and surrounding areas to the city of Yucaipa.
Thank you. All right. Well, can I get a motion?
I motion to approve.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. There you go, Ben. Thank you. Good luck with it.
Want to get Higginson in here, or you just want to leave him in there?
That was way too fast.
Yeah, the laundry's in there, they think we're giving them a hard time. He's out of the 2-minute penalty box.
Hey, I ran on heels, so.
Tell me failed. Bad design.
Sorry we weren't able to approve.
They had a problem with the architecture.
Bad design.
All right, we'll move on to agenda item number 5, case number 23-072.
Thank you, Honorable Vice Chair Hicks and Planning Commissioners. Today I'm bringing before you a special use permit, case number 23-072, to allow a small collection facility for a 384 square foot modular recycling buyback center associated with the Stater Brothers Marketplace, set up to accept empty beverage containers and pay California Redemption Value, or CRV, to customers for a period of time of up to 2 years, to be located at 11365 Bryant Street. Above, you can see the site location pictured on the map. It's at the cross streets of Bryant and Oakland Road. It is on a 1.95 acre parcel in the neighborhood commercial land use district. It is currently improved with a parking lot and site landscaping for the overall commercial development on a parcel that has previously been subdivided for future land use for the shopping center. The site currently acts as excess parking for the Stater Brothers Marketplace and is located towards the rear of the parcel and has similar commercial neighborhood land use district to the north and west, and institutional to the south and east, which is Yucaipa Valley Water District pump station. So this case initially started as a code case within the city of Yucaipa. The operator had previously operated a location within the city, but with the new location, they needed an underlying land use approval. They did not know about that at the time, and so initiated as a code enforcement violation. As a part of that code enforcement violation, the applicant has worked diligently with city staff to get into compliance, including the relocation of the structure on the site, as well as repainting that structure and work on operational procedures to deter some of the negative interactions that can follow CRV redemption centers. The architecture is relatively plain. It's a small collection facility of 2 mobile storage containers of approximately 8 by 8 by 24. It is fronted by a metallic storefront with double doors to look like a building and has been painted tan to match the existing development at the site, and is located at the southwestern portion of the property over 500 feet from Bryant Street. I'll just go back to the previous picture so you can see some of the repainted frontage of that structure. A little bit about the operations of the site. It's a proposed small collection facility, which will take up approximately 3 parking spaces. And the applicant has indicated that they will operate between the hours of 9 to 5, Tuesday through Saturday, and will be closed Sunday and Monday, with typically 1 employee on site, but up to 3 depending on how busy they can get. As I previously discussed, due to some of the negative connotation and activity that can accompany recycling buyback facilities, the applicant has worked with staff to provide a set of operational procedures to which they will abide, as well as staff provided conditions of approval, including on-site security cameras, regular sanitation of the site, requirements for the operator to contact PD if he sees criminal activity, requirements to manage the noise level, signage in both English and Spanish, as well as a policy for handling any cash on site. The indications indicate that a failure to meet these conditions of approval will result in a revocation of the permit, which is only good for 2 years before it is re-reviewed by city staff. As a part of the noticing for this project, notices were sent to all surrounding contiguous property owners, and 2 phone calls were received. One who requested additional information on the scope of the project, kind of had in mind that it was going to be a permanent structure larger than the 500 square feet. After the discussion, he was eager to see it be approved. There was a second one who voiced support for the application, and so it is staff's recommendation that the Planning Commission review the special use permit, and if acceptable, approve subject to the conditions of approval, adopt a categorical exemption, and direct staff to file that notice of exemption. I am here if you guys have any questions, as well as the applicant.
I have one. Where it's being located now, there's indications for future retail space on two sides of it. Is this going to be hidden in the future with,
So I imagine with any future development, it would be removed from the site.
removed entirely from the
Yeah,
site?
so it's a temporary use. The
Okay.
approvals for up to 2 years. You might have even seen it. It's a small kind of buyback facility. They might choose to relocate it, but I'm sure if there were any future development of that site, it would become inaccessible and it would be relocated.
All right. Any other questions for staff?
From the standpoint of the security cameras, obviously, security cameras are what they are. Obviously, it's these types of facilities provide a much-needed benefit to not only the citizens and the environment, but obviously it does have some negative aspects to it. How is that policed, Christian? You know, obviously we put these conditions on there, but how's that actually, I guess, monitored and made sure that they are adhering to these conditions?
So an element of that is handled by complaints. We don't have a proactive code enforcement department, but should something become an issue, I imagine that the first person to say something would be the Stater Brothers Marketplace, which they're
I'm sure they
partnered
would.
with.
Okay.
Yeah, we are able to go to the site and do investigations if that's something that would be requested. It is something that our code enforcement officer is familiar with, and he has historically kind of done that with other recycling centers in town.
Well, I think I'd rather have them focus on some more pressing issues in this community and things like that. But anyway, I appreciate the fact that they're going through the motions and going through the process of getting it approved. And with the conditions, they'll be a little bit more apt to keep it clean and make sure that it's kind of monitored well. So I appreciate those conditions being placed on the project.
And if I may kind of add, with these operations, it does come down to the operator. We've, had a few different ones, throughout the city, including one that was at Vaughn's for a long time and really didn't necessarily have too much kind of issues, at least in terms of operation. So that's where the complaints, if they are doing something that is creating a problem, then we have these conditions to really fall back on to go, hey, you're not in compliance, and then that would be grounds for revocation as well. And so we have just more ammo, I think, just to make sure that they're running a tight ship, and if they are, then certainly the perspective you provided about the benefit to the community, they're able to meet that need.
I appreciate staff doing that. Thank you.
And does the nature of the initial complaint or of the complaint that initiated this process, is that taken care of by the conditional approval?
That is correct, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, would the applicant like to make a presentation? If you'd please state your name and company. The other microphone, sir. Sorry.
Hi, good evening. My name is Antronik Sayam. I'm the one who prepared the plans. And this type of recycling facilities are needed. CalRecycle, the state agency, controls it, and they put penalty on shopping centers that don't have one. So we're trying to provide the service so that people who pay the deposits for their beverage containers can get the refund, plus towards the goal of zero waste, I mean, everybody can do their part. So it's a service provided, and as somebody mentioned, it depends on the operator. Some are really clean and some are terrible, have left a bad reputation for new applicants. So this is a good operator, and If there's any problems, I guess the code enforcement will cite them and they'll correct it, but that's not going to happen. Yeah, thank you.
Any public comment?
No public comment on this item.
Public comment, okay. Any other questions?
I just have a quick question. The nature of the code violation, is that public record?
So the code violation was for operating a business without a license.
So it wasn't cleanliness or vector control or nothing like that?
No. I think it's important to note that they were also on, they're associated with the Stater Brothers. The parcel that they were on was not a Stater Brothers parcel. They sold it recently, and so I think there was some confusion there as well.
Yeah, they've been there forever. They were in the northwest corner for a long time.
All right. Well, can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve this item.
Thank you, Richard.
I'll second.
A second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. All right. Agenda item number 6, case number 23-115. Trina, what is your last name now?
I kept my same last name.
Oh,
so
okay.
for now. Thank you, Vice Chair Hicks. This is item number 6, case number 23-115. This is a land use compliance review to construct a 1,190 square foot detached ADU and a special use permit with architecture review for some accessory architectural design elements of a 441 square foot garage and 327 square foot patio, both attached to the overall ADU footprint. This is a project site located at 31254 Tarryton Court, and the applicant is Mr. Victor Labastida. I did want to note that a couple months prior, the Planning Commission did review ordinance number 426, which was also approved by the City Council to streamline the ADU review process for some of these attached architectural elements, including garages and patios. However, this project scope is just outside of that maximum threshold established through that ordinance, so staff did share the opportunity to reduce the footprint by about 150 square feet, and the applicant did want to pursue as is, so that's why we are here to review the special use permit process. So the site is a 0.83 acre parcel within the RS20M land use district. The applicant is currently constructing a single family residence, which is the by right use in this land use district. And as a part of the conditions of approval presented in the agenda packet, condition of approval number 28 is included to ensure that the single family residence is built and occupied prior to the ADU. The project site is surrounded by other single-family residential development, including properties owned by the applicant or close relatives. Their desire is to kind of create some additional housing opportunities for family members within the greater area. Site plan is presented on the screen. There's a primary single-family residence, again, under construction that will encompass approximately 4,247 square feet, which includes an attached 3-car garage. And then again, that total ADU footprint is 1,958 square feet. The adjacent site, 31264 Tarryton Court, provides access via an easement to this property because there's no direct street frontage, and the ADU meets all RS20M setbacks. The floor plan is on the screen, and it's actually identical to case number 22-065, which was approved by the Planning Commission last year in August. And again, that's because that property is owned by the applicant's family members, and so they're kind of created a product that they like, and they're essentially pursuing that exact replica structure on the rear property, and it wouldn't be visible from the street. And then these are the elevations, a single-story structure, peak height of 14.5 feet, will provide a Spanish style with dark terracotta colored concrete roof, and then there's also some columns provided across the patio for additional articulation. These are the single-family residential elevations, the structure under construction, and then no project notice comments were received and distributed to neighbors. And then as a small accessory structure, the project is exempt from CEQA for additional environmental review. Here's a photo of that kind of easement area that would lead back into this property. And then it's staff's recommendation that the project is reviewed and approved with the associated conditions. I'm
All
here
right.
to answer any questions.
Thank you. Any questions?
I have one, the second home, provision of SB 9 or 10 or whatever it is. Does that require a lot split?
Not necessarily, no. They could pursue one if they were the owner of that property, but they're not mutually exclusive.
So what threshold would cross this into second home versus an ADU to like file under that and skip this review process and just do it as a second home? Is it different setback regulations?
So there's a couple things there. I think the biggest of those is an ADU and a second unit can be reviewed under slightly different avenues. One for the building for the water meter, rather than having to have its own separate water meter, own separate water connection, paying a full fee. They pay what's called an ADU connection fee, which is about $150. So
Versus
can be a
another
little bit
meter?
cheaper to go that way.
Way cheaper.
The other thing that's nice is that there are kind of modified Title 24 requirements, as well as if this were an existing development, they could also potentially not be required to do sprinklers. So there's several advantages to doing an ADU, and I think that's typically why we've seen most people do ADUs rather than SB9 duplexes.
All right, yeah, I was just curious, because as we bounce against this threshold, what are the advantages and disadvantages, especially financially, for the builders to know why they do one versus the other? So, thank you.
Yeah, and I believe that was actually also discussed with the applicant too. I know they spoke with Christian and I both at the counter in different instances, and I think that was noted as a part of the
Right on.
decision.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right. Is the applicant here? Like to make any comments? No?
I don't believe they came tonight.
Okay. All right. Then any public comments?
No public comments on this item.
Any other questions? Can we get a motion?
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion carries. Thank you. We'll move on to agenda item number 7, case number 23-117.
Thank you again, Honorable Vice Chairman Hicks and Planning Commissioners. Today I bring before you case number 23-117, a special use permit for the architectural review of a 1,800 square foot and 16-foot tall metal RV garage located to the rear of a single-family property located at 35540 Fur Street. It is located on a half-acre parcel within the RS 20M or our single residential 20,000 square foot minimum lot size home, and it is surrounded by similar single-family residences within that land use district as well. The detached structure is proposed for the applicant's personal items and vehicles. The site plan here shows that the site is currently improved with a 2,721 footprint square foot single-family residence, with the proposed garage being only 1,800 square feet and 16-foot tall at the peak height. The proposed garage fits within all RS20M setbacks and is located behind the primary residence. A little bit of a unique thing came up through the review of this project. It is located at the rear of the parcel, but there is an existing but non-functional bridle path easement. Discussion with the city engineer indicate that the construction within this easement is acceptable to the city because the easement is not used and terminates at this property. And additionally, the easement does not provide public access and is only for the essentially benefit of this specific party. Definitely a little bit weird, so if any questions come up, I'd be more than happy to answer. The staff report itself creates a narrative of the fact that they would be hoping to put it at 5 feet, but we're willing to put it at 12.5 feet, but indications with the city engineer indicate that that 5 feet would be acceptable to the city. The elevations are really hard to see here. They got a little bit washed out, but essentially it should be in your packets if you guys have them in front of you. There's a tiered gabled roof The first tier starts at about 11 feet and continues to about 12 and a half or 13 feet. It's a slant roof, and then a second tier with a gable, which is about 14 feet at the plate height with a 16-foot peak height, 16.25 foot peak height. There are two roll-up doors. One's kind of a traditional garage door, and the other is an RV door, and it is to be painted polar white, which is part of why you guys can't see it, with a sea wolf roof and trim that's going to be provided with two windows along the west elevation. Notices were sent to all surrounding property owners, and no responses were received. And there's a couple site photos showing that it's going to kind of tie in with the home with the polar white and sea wolf roof color. And therefore, it is staff's recommendation that you review the architectural design, adopt the special use permit findings, adopt a categorical exemption, and direct staff to file that notice of exception. I am here if you guys have any questions. I know it got a little bit dicey there, but the applicant is here as well if you guys have any questions for her.
All right, thanks, Christian. Any questions for staff? Oh, is the applicant here? Would you like to make a presentation or send her?
No, on behalf of my husband and I, we just want to thank you for considering our project here to help us store our RV and truck and protect our assets. So thank you for considering it, and hopefully it all goes well.
All right, thank you. Okay, any public comment?
None on this item.
All right. Any other questions? Can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay.
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second. Can we get a vote? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, folks.
Thank you.
All right. Any announcements or anything, Ben?
I got a few, real quick. We will not be having a second meeting in December, so this will be our last meeting of the year. But we will probably have one on January 3rd, but we'll let you know in advance. But just want to, if there's not going to be a quorum, then we'll want to know that ahead of time, but we may have some items that are ready to go. Sometime tomorrow, the Wine Country Specific Plan, EIR, or Supplemental EIR, will be posted on the city's website. So certainly it's going to be a bid document, so you guys may want to kind of get briefed on that, start reading it early. That way, once we get it to public hearing, you guys are prepared. There will be a workshop being held, or a town hall, on Tuesday at 6 o'clock at the YPAT to go over the Wine Country Specific Plan. Certainly encourage anyone that is interested to kind of learn about that plan details before it shows up for you guys for a formal vote to do so.
And I'm sorry, when is that meeting at YPAC?
It's on the 12th, so next Tuesday at 6 o'clock. And then really that's about it. Since this is the last meeting of the year, I do want to say thank you guys for a great year. It's been a fun one, kind of an interesting one. Certainly you guys got into, trial by fire at the start, and so it was very enjoyable, but I think we had a really good year as a planning commission. A lot of cool projects have come through, and we are excited for what next year has, and hope you guys all have a wonderful holiday break. Happy New Year's, Merry Christmas, and just have a great time, and stay safe. And that's all I have.
I just want to say Merry Christmas to everybody, too.
Thank you.
Christmas.
Yeah, same for
Happy
my
holidays.
How many general plan amendments do we have scheduled for next year? All 4 of them?
Oh,
All of them.
the wine one will take.
Yeah.
But it'll be another fun year as well. But I think a lot of cool projects in the hopper as well, and so we are excited to bring those forward. And we'll be. But you guys will have a nice restful break, and look forward to it.
Thank you. Thank
Thank
you all.
you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, I think, as a first-year planning commissioner and working with some amazing people and working with amazing staff, and as an architect, I bring a different dynamic to the die, but it's been an enjoyable first year for me, and I appreciate staff and all the hard work everybody does in this city. And again, I see it maybe more than others because I'm in the city maybe once or twice a week with a project, but it's been an enjoyable first year. I'm looking forward to next year. Thank
I
you.
have to echo that. Your guys' professionalism is outstanding, and it is always a pleasure hearing from you guys. And anytime we need feedback, you're very responsive. So I really
Absolutely.
appreciate it because this is my first year on the commission, and you know there's a learning curve, but I do appreciate. It's great to have you guys.
Absolutely.
And
I also quickly wanted to note, if you weren't already familiar, we're working on a new permitting system upgrade within the city, and so that's taken a lot of effort on our ends as well, but hopefully
Thank you.
it'll be well worth it. And I'm sure we'll tap into some of you guys in the next coming year to do some trial and error for us and let us know where we can make some tweaks, because the goal really is to make it better. So that's definitely been something I think we're excited and proud of too.
Yeah,
so.
you can use me as a guinea pig. That's fine.
3-day approval on permits.
3-day
It
approval.
will be a lot more digital stuff, but we're really rethinking, especially on the planning entitlements, how to make it much more easy on the applicant where they're not having to really know exactly what codes that they're doing, but really we're going to help them through the process and make it a lot easier for notification and really building that up. But we do have a few projects that we're excited to have them kind of help test it in. We'll probably have a program where, especially for like building permits, is like, hey, if you're going to wait to submit building permits, try it out on our system, be a guinea pig. You'll move up the line a little bit, and then that way you kind of help us get real-time feedback on the process too. But we're really making a big push for improving the customer service experience for those that are going through our process.
Yeah, our
Fact that it's
consultants
online.
probably are so tired of hearing all the questions that we have and trying to make it the best that we can make it. So
No, just the
we're
fact that it's
programmed.
online now is from an architect standpoint, I wish every city, and a lot of cities are still not doing that. So I appreciate the city actually pushing for that from a standpoint of convenience and paper and environment, all that. I mean, I still have cities wants me to submit 12 sets of plans, and you're just going, okay, I gotta go get Prince 12 sets of plans.
Yeah,
They just go in the
It'll be
recycle
easier.
afterwards.
It'll be a lot easier for us to post stuff, on a public portal too. So it'll make it a lot more accessible for members of the public that are just interested as well. But one of the things that we kind of did through the process is reached out to other cities that have the same software. What works, what doesn't work, we really tried to learn from their trial and error to make sure that we're getting a good jump start.
Perfect.
So.
I appreciate that. I think
Can
we
you
all
guys
appreciate it.
utilize your app? Because like the app is really cool for the city, and even if you just added a section for permitting, maybe have a QR code on there where it can take them right to the permitting on your website. Just an idea to utilize the app, because that's a really great app.
It is.
Just wanted to say one quick thing while we've got the cameras on. I talked to our applicants that were here tonight. I just wanted to let you guys know you guys are an awesome planning commission, and it's been a really great year. So wanted to let you guys know that I appreciate you all.
Yep.
Thank you. No, we really appreciate you guys, and I really appreciate all the commissioners, because this was an initiation by fire this year. Yeah, no, and it's not a job that you really come to for fun.
Don't you get paid for jobs?
Pardon me?
Don't you get paid for jobs?
I think we're all
But
going
it
to
Volunteer
is,
position.
I appreciate everybody's comments and the time they spend looking things over, and I think it's a great commission, and I'm appreciative to Ben and everyone for helping me with having to fill in here for a few times. I think this is the first night I've actually felt semi-comfortable that I
Yeah, you did.
have an idea of what I'm doing next. So
Did a good job.
appreciate it very much. And happy holidays, and with that, we'll adjourn.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. That was a fast meeting for 7 items, guys.
Yeah,
I mean, 45 minutes.
I'm pushing.